For the chair of the session, esteemed researchers, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all. This is Dr. Tarique Iqbal, Professor of Law in the Faculty of Arts and University, and with me, my co-professor Faijul Islam is a lecturer in law at Primary University. So whatever it is, ladies and gentlemen, our topic is the British colonialism and the legal system of the Indian subcontinent and the enduring legacy of colonial mentality. So we people are very much concerned that we not only we people of this particular country, the Indian subcontinent were ruled by British near about 200 years, and eventually how the legacy we are carrying right now, the mentality still we are carrying out, just we have to show it right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, introduction to law as an instrument of empire that I have mentioned this is statement you can find out here. The sun never sets out on the British Empire. British colonial expansion was not merely a political conquest, it was a systematic institutional transformation in which law became a central instrument of impartial control. From the East India Company to the British Dutch, colonial rulers introduced English legal principles, codified statutes, and hierarchical codes, the marginalizing indigenous legal traditions, and the concept of colonial mentality. I repeat once again, colonial mentality captures the enduring influence of these inherited structures on post-colonial states. Talking. Whatever I have shown here, the emergence of the colonial legal system, just the structure has been provided here. The presidency courts that the East India Company sets out courts in Calcutta, Madras, and Bombay, the three major cities in that particular time. In 1774, Calcutta Court, the Supreme Court established another Reverting Act, and the Charter Acts under 1813, 1833, 1853 expanded the parliamentary authority, and Government Acts 1858, 1935 consolidated the governance reforms. So whatever you people are very much concerned, in fact, we all are concerned about this, that basic laws, in fact, one of my researchers, Peter, this is already mentioned this, the core laws, the bare acts such as the CRPC, the CPC, Level of Evidence, or the Evidence Act 1872, or the Code of Criminal Procedure 1898, all other laws we have limited from there, it's still only 2026, we're still starting out. So what's the colonial mindset of us, we can easily understand from there. So colonial codification created a uniform legal framework while embedding values of hierarchy, bureaucracy, and formalism. And transformation of indigenous legal traditions, British colonial rule, they structured the Hindu, Muslim, and customary legal systems to English jurisprudence. The traditional mechanisms, village forms, and the community practices were marginalized. By former colonial courts, colonial intervention did not merely modernize law, it reconstructed religious and community identities by categorizing diverse social practices into rigid legal frameworks subordinating the indigenous norms to states and economy. One thing just I want to keep note here. So we may think that on the personal laws, such as the Hindu laws for the Hindu and the Muslim law for the Muslims, why they have inherited? One simple rule they have just inserted, they have injected in the subcontinent as a divided rule. Only one this policy they have ruled us over 200 years. So this is the rule they know very well that whatever the religious perspective matters in the subcontinent. So it's substantial matters in that particular time. So, ladies and gentlemen, the colonial mentality and the legal consciousness, I have given a share here, the persistence of colonial ideals, then the legal elitism and the accessibility classes, formalism and substantive justice and laws and authority, not an empowerment at all. So, whatever, I think this is the turn for my co-author, Mr. Faijul Islam, as I mentioned earlier, he's a lecturer in law and ethical research at the University of Chicago. So, floor for yours. Thank you very much.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, my honorable mentor, academic mentor, Dr. Tarique Iqbal, for helping me in this research project. So, in this theoretical framework, I would like to discuss about the theoretical framework. So, first of all, I have to mention that the biggest book in which book the colonial mentality has been reshaped. The book name is Orientalism. This is written by Sir Edward Said. So, from the proverb of British colonial mentality, there is a biggest proverb is that the son of